What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're testing F125 on the HP EliteBook 845G8, running entirely on the Ryzen 5 Pro 5650U's integrated Radeon Vega graphics. We're covering 4 settings presets, 2 resolutions, and 2 TDP configs, stock 15-watt and boosted 25-watt via Universal x86 tuning utility, all with FSR performance mode active. Let's get into it. Starting with 15 watts TDP, 720p output, ultra-low settings, FSR performance, and without any recording software running, I am getting 48 to 56 FPS. That is a solid and comfortable range for an iGPU on a racing title. F125 feels responsive at those frame rates. On track, the car handling feels smooth, and at the upper end, around 55 to 56 FPS, the game is genuinely enjoyable. Ultra-low with FSR performance is your most reliable configuration on this machine at stock TDP. And as I mentioned, you will occasionally see a brief sudden dip in the frame counter before it snaps right back. It is a 1-second thing, does not affect gameplay meaningfully, but you will notice it.
Good. You hit that target nicely. There's a long way to go in this race, so let's keep it clean.
Same 15 watts TDP, 720p, stepping up to medium settings with FSR performance. Without recording, the frame rate sits at 38 to 48 FPS. Still a playable range, and the visual improvement over ultra-low on medium is noticeable. Better track surface detail, improved car models, richer environmental quality around the circuits. The lower end at 38 FPS shows up during the most demanding track sections and busy race starts, but the majority of racing sits comfortably in the low to mid-40s. The sudden brief FPS drops appear here too across the session. Medium at 15 watts is a viable option if you want better visuals and can accept the slightly lower floor.
At 15 watts TDP, 720p, high settings with FSR performance, without recording, I am seeing 28 to 34 FPS. That puts us right at the lower edge of playable territory. High settings push the iGPU harder, and at 28 FPS during the more demanding moments, the game starts to feel noticeably heavy, especially in a racing title where frame rate responsiveness matters more than in slower-paced games. The upper end, around 33 to 34 FPS, is more acceptable, and the sudden, brief drops we have been seeing across all settings show up here as well. High settings at 720p on 15 watts is technically possible, but it is not what I would recommend for a comfortable racing experience.
And gap to the car in front, 3.0 seconds.
Now at 1080p output, 15 watts TDP, low settings, FSR performance. Without recording, the frame rate comes in at 29 to 32 FPS. Similar to high settings at 720p, this sits right at the edge of comfortable play. FSR performance at 1080p is rendering at a significantly lower internal resolution and upscaling up, which is how the iGPU manages to push 1080p output at all. The image still looks reasonably sharp thanks to FSR doing its work. The 29 to 32 FPS range is manageable for casual circuit laps, but for competitive or intense racing, it is on the limit. The sudden brief dips appear here too. If 1080p output matters to you at stock TDP, it works. Just temper your expectations on smoothness.
Keep on him, he might make a mistake. Okay, gap ahead, 1.9 seconds.
I am using Universal x86 Tuning Utility, a tool that allows you to manually adjust the TDP on AMD processors beyond what the manufacturer sets. So here, if you choose Performance, then the TDP increased to 25 watt. Before the 25 watt results, a quick heads up. Pushing TDP to 25 watts gives a solid performance boost, but temperatures rise noticeably compared to stock 15 watts. I'm just using an airflow stand here, so if you plan to run 25 watts long-term, use a proper active cooling pad. You've been warned. At 25 watts TDP, 720p output, ultra-low settings, FSR performance, without recording, the frame rate jumps to 58 to 68 FPS. That is a strong and very noticeable improvement over the 48 to 56 FPS we saw at 15 watts. At the upper end, around 65 to 68 FPS, the game feels fluid and responsive. This is where F125 genuinely shines on integrated graphics. The extra TDP headroom makes a real difference, and ultra-low with FSR performance at 25 watts is comfortably the smoothest racing experience this machine can deliver on this title. The occasional sudden brief dips still appear here, snapping back within a second as always, but at these frame rates, they are even less impactful. Still at 25 watts, 720p, medium settings with FSR performance, without recording, I am getting 45 to 53 FPS, a solid and comfortable result on medium settings at boosted TDP. That is a meaningful step up from the 38 to 48 FPS at 15 watts on the same preset. Spending time in the upper 40s and low 50s on medium settings at 720p makes this a very enjoyable configuration. The visual quality is noticeably better than ultra-low, and the performance is strong enough to back it up. Medium settings at 25 watts is a great daily driver configuration for F125 on this machine, provided your cooling situation is up to the task. At 25 watts TDP, 720p, high settings with FSR performance, without recording, the frame rate sits at 33 to 40 FPS. Compare that to 28 to 34 FPS at high on 15 watts. The extra TDP pushes the floor up meaningfully and brings the upper end into the high 30s. Spending time around 38 to 40 FPS on high settings makes this noticeably more comfortable than its stock TDP. It is still not the smoothest experience in the lineup, but it is a legitimate step up. And if you specifically want the visual quality of high settings in F125, 25 watts makes it considerably more viable. The sudden brief drops still appear occasionally here as well.
As you can see on screen, my temperatures are going up noticeably under 25 watt load. The CPU is hitting higher numbers than its stock 15 watts. I am personally just using an airflow stand. No active cooling, no laptop cooler with fans, and I want to be very direct with you. If you are going to run 25 watts on this machine, please use a proper laptop cooler. A good active cooling pad will help maintain those higher frame rates consistently and keep your thermals in a safe range. Do not push 25 watts long-term without better cooling than I have here.
And the final configuration, 25 watts TDP, 1080p output, low settings, FSR performance. Without recording, the frame rate comes in at 34 to 37 FPS. That is a solid improvement over the 29 to 32 FPS at 1080p on stock 15 watts and brings the 1080p experience into a more consistently comfortable range. Sitting in the mid to upper 30s at 1080p output on integrated graphics for a modern racing title is a result worth appreciating. FSR Performance is working hard to reconstruct that 1080p image, and at these frame rates, F125 at Full HD is genuinely usable for casual play on this Ultrabook. The brief sudden dips appear here too, as with every other configuration. Full verdict on F125 on the EliteBook 845 G8. Decent overall, with some caveats. At 15 watts, ultra low 48 to 56 FPS, medium 38 to 48, high 28 to 34, 1080p low 29 to 32. At 25 watts, ultra low 58 to 68, medium 45 to 53, high 33 to 40, 1080p low 34 to 37. FSR performance active throughout. One consistent issue across all configs, brief occasional FPS drops that snap back within a second, cause unknown. All numbers are without recording, so factor in the capture hit. And if you're on 25 watts, get a cooling pad. Temps are hitting 90 degrees Celsius and above. Drop your questions in the comments, and if you enjoy this type of content, likes and subscribes are appreciated. See you in the next one.